May I please call upon Dr. Sujata Dalvi ma'am to introduce our guest of honor, Dr. R P Soonawala sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. It's my privilege and honor to introduce our guest of honor, Dr. R P Soonawala. So, Dr. Soonawala is a gynecologist and obstetrician practicing last many years. They've written 44 plus years of experience. He's been practicing last many years in the city of Mumbai. Once upon a time, he was the highest taxpayer so far as Mumbai city as an individual taxpayer. Yes, as an individual taxpayer is concerned. He's been awarded a 4th highest civilian award, that is Padma Shri, by President of India in recognition of his work in the field of family planning, which is very close to his heart. He's innovated quite a few instruments and quite a few things so far as family planning is concerned, and he's done lots of research and work so far as family planning is concerned. His area of expertise include treating cervical dysplasia, endometriosis, polycystic ovarian syndrome, urinary incontinence, uterine fibroid, and post-hysterectomy prolapse. But mind you, he was very famous so far as tuboplasty was concerned. He was so meticulous that people would go all the way to Wadia Hospital to see Sir's tuboplasty, and as well as closure of C-section, you know, and the abdominal closure. Simple thing, but something like so meticulous. And it was so this thing so far as the closure of abdomen was concerned that people would flock to go and see, because we were always posted at KM hospital, but we were always told that sir is coming, and he usually used to come in the afternoon after 12 because he was very busy, and he would be there the whole of the afternoon. By then we would wind up our work and go across to see his works in Wadia Hospital. So thank you so much for being our chief guest. Over to the President, Dr. Niranjan.
Thank you, Dr. Sujata, for a wonderful. Well, I can add him. I have heard sir many times in last 30 years, and as evergreen, he's still the evergreen guy, and we are very fortunate to have you today with us. Thank you so much for being there.
May I now call upon Dr. Komal Chavan to introduce our next chief guest, Dr. Usha Krishna.
A great honor and privilege. Yeah. Yeah, I invite Soonawala sir on the dais,
Sir.
and request Dr. Pradnya to hand over a floral bouquet.
That we will give. Just tell him to come.
Okay. So I will also introduce Madam and ask her to also to come on the dais. And what best to have Madam on the occasion of the World Population Day. Her CV runs into immense work which is done only for population and family welfare. She has been an honorary director of Avabai Wadia Health Center and a president of FPAI Mumbai branch for last 6 years, and All India Presidents of Family Planning Association. She was been there till 2009.
Rajendra,
has done immense work on the subject of family planning, and was also on technical advisory committee of Department of Health and Family Welfare with the Government of India. So I think the immense work and the vision which Madam has for family planning, we all know. She has also been the chair of Reproductive Health and Nutrition Division of ICMR New Delhi, and on the scientific board of ICMR. So Madam is really a very, very big figure and honorable, and we are so happy to have two stalwarts doing so much work on family planning to be bless us here, to be present among us. And MOGs and MOGs, we are very happy to felicitate them on this occasion. So I request our President and Secretary to felicitate them with floral bouquets.
Thank you.
Welcome them with floral bouquets and felicitate them with our customary
Thank you so much.
I would invite Dr. Sujata Darvi, Secretary of MOCs, to please come on the dais. And now I request Dr. Sujata Darvi to come and Dr. Ameya Purandare, co-convener, to join in. And I request MOG's President and Secretary to felicitate with shawl, Shrifar and plaque our chief guest.
Soonawala.
Komal, Ameya.
It's my proud privilege to present the plaque to our distinguished guest. It's my proud privilege to present this plaque to our distinguished guest and Dr. R P Soonawala, our chief guest of this program. And the plaque says the Mumbai Obstetric and Gynecological Society MOGS Excellence Award conferred upon Dr. R P Soonawala, chief guest, on 11 July 2022 at MOGS and MOGS Family Planning and MTP Committee, along with FPAI and IPAS, a hybrid CME. Signed by Dr. Niranjan Chavan, President MOGS, Dr. Rajendra Sankapal, Secretary MOGS, and Dr. Geeta Balsarkar, Treasurer MOGS. Thank you, sir. It's our honor.
Sir, and this is the magnet of the vision for her. Heal, educate, and respect. Okay. Sir. Sir, please, sir, put this side. Thank you.
Thank you.
So now we request you to share a few words. It's on, sir.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here and to be appreciated about whatever little work one has done in the past 60 years or 70 years. My journey, I would like to say a few words, started in the 50s, late 50s, when I qualified, became MD, working at Wadia, working at Nair Hospital as a resident. That somehow termination of pregnancy was a necessity for women because we were getting so many patients. My backstreet abortion is putting sticks in, and most of them, say out of 10 it would come, 6 or 7 would be unmarried girls, age group 22, 24, working. And some would be married women also. And to see them die in your own hands was something very, very traumatic. So I got myself involved into termination of pregnancy well before it became legal. Had few complications, had to go and meet the coroner to get the death certificate. But believe me, when you are honest in your work, everybody comes to your help. And the first question the coroner would ask me, how much have you charged? And when I would say nothing, on the contrary, at that time antibiotics were a little difficult to get. Chloromycetin was the only antibiotic. So I would say, no, we paid from. And I had a bit of support from my colleagues, so that it was that time. Now, why was population so important? It was, in 1798 that Thomas Robert Malthus, somehow I got an article which I was reading, mentioned, so I would say, no, we paid from, and I had a bit of support from my colleagues, so that it was that time. Now, why was population so important? It was, in 1798 that Thomas Robert Malthus, somehow I got an article which I was reading, mentioned that unless it was a clergy and a mathematician and many 4 or 5 varieties of areas he was interested in. At that time he mentioned that the world population is multiplying too rapidly. It was below 1 billion at that time, below 1 billion when he wrote in 1798. And then it took over 100 years for that 1 billion to become 2 billion. So it was about by 1830 that, 1930, that it became 2 billion, 130 years nearly. And then it took 30 years to become 3 billion. And that was the time when we came in the picture. It was 1960 when the world population was about 3 billion. And then it's rapidly growing around approximately 12 to 14 billion a year. Now, what is the problem in India? We have about 16 of the land mass and population, I forget the exact figure, but exactly opposite of America. America land mass is 16% of the world and population is 2.6. And India is 2.6% of the land mass and a population of 16% of the world. So just imagine what a handicap we have. Okay? And that was battled. IPPF came in, Family Planning Association came in, and a lot of organizations, World Health, everybody got involved in population. In spite of that, the population is increasing. So believe me, it is not a simple task. I would say education and giving a job would be the solution of controlling the population. If a person, and especially female education, if females are educated, the whole family gets educated, the children gets educated. And then if the people are involved, because it is their problem, they have to look after the children, they have to feed them, they have to educate them, they have to clothe them, they have to find a shelter over their head. So that it should be a people's problem, and the voluntary agencies, the government agencies should be helping by providing the contraceptive services and education-wise, telling them that a small family norm is a happy family. But at that time, maternal mortality, the infant mortality was so high that you couldn't blame them cutting their population down to 1 or 2 kids, which naturally is happening. But in spite of that, why is the world population increasing? About 10 to 12 million every year. A small story I'll tell you. There was a Maharaja who was very ill. He tried allopathy, he tried homeopathy, he tried everything. And yet his ailments of pain in the back and all could not be relieved. So into his state walked a wise man, a seer. And everybody said, no, Maharaja is not well. He said, I'll cure him. He went and met the Maharaja and gave him some advice and gave him some medication. And the Maharaja became all right. So the Maharaja called his Prime Minister and said, give him whatever he wants, because I was in miserable condition for last 1 year, and now I feel back to life. So the Prime Minister called the seer, and the seer said, I want to do charity. So he said, just give me 1 bag of rice for the first square of the draft board, 2 for the second, 4 for the third, 8 for the fourth. And the Prime Minister went and told the Maharaja, he's just asking for bags of rice. And the state had a full granary full of bags and bags of rice. So Maharaja said, stupid man, I thought he would ask for gold, he would ask for jewelry, he would ask for money, but so he said, no, he wants to do charity with that rice. So he said, okay, if it's his wish, give him. In a few minutes, the Prime Minister came rushing back. Okay, we have not even crossed half the draft board and our granary is empty. So the multiplication that we are facing now is the responsibility of the population increasing so rapidly. And that requires a full determination involving the individuals, involving the government, involving the business people, involving everyone. But our medical profession has a deeper commitment than anybody else. And that is what I would like to express very, very strongly. Not only the obs-gynae, of course, the obs-gynae will be the front people tackling the population problem, but every medical man or woman has to take help of that. And lastly, what I would like to mention is that the obstruction that comes from the political issues or from the religious issues or from many corners, the obstruction or resistance comes, we should just ignore them. By ignoring, trying to fight them, we won't win, because they can really bring out stories and lies and all, which we cannot. But just ignore them, we do our job, and our job is to save humanity. Because at this rate, if the country, every country, I would say, keeps on, now mostly Western countries, European, UK, all the population itself is very eager for a small family, 1 kid, 2 kids. And that's why they have solved the problem very well. It is the eastern part of the world and Middle East part of the world where the problem still exists of too many people, too many mouths to feed, too many individuals to be educated, and the most important, lastly, to find a job. Because a job is a necessity for everyone. And so many jobless, homeless, foodless people that every country who does not follow these principles is facing has to be tackled on a war footing. I thank you all for the patient listening. My message is that it should be the people's program by education and giving them good jobs. Automatically the family size will come down. At the same time, to hasten, because India, when it got its independence, was only 350 million. 350 million. And then within this time, now it is 150 billion. So see the multiplication from 300 to 1,050 billion. And if you don't do something now, from today, as we are sitting and talking, believe me, India would have added 500,000 population. So we have to be honest with ourselves, do our job well, and it's mainly the women folk who suffer maximum. So we as gynecologists, obstetricians, the girls and the boys, at that time, believe me, there were hardly any girls on the panels in the 1950s and 60s. Maybe 10 men as advisors to the government would be there to advise on contraception with one lone female. And I would always keep saying, it's a ladies' problem. Let the ladies come forward. It'll be better solved than we men just meeting and talking. And I'm so happy now that in MOGS, in FOGSI, everywhere, the participation of the ladies is increasing. And maybe after a few years, we men may have to struggle to be there. Thank you, Niranjan, thank you, the whole committee. It's always a great pleasure to be here with a lot of colleagues, and especially in an occasion like this, the World Population Day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those inspiring words. Now we felicitate Dr. Usha Krishna, madam.
I would only like to say, Dr. Soonawala has said so beautifully that we all support him, no more, and that's all I would like. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for being with us today. The Mumbai Obstetrics and Gynecological Society Vision for Her presents you the MOGS Excellence Award as the chief guest on 11th of July 2022 at the MOGS and AMOGS Family Planning and MTP Committee, along with FPAI and IPAS Hybrid CME, signed by me, President, Dr. Niranjan Chavan, Secretary, Dr. Rajendra Sangpal, Treasurer, Dr. Geeta Balsarkar. Thank you, madam, for being there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. My pleasure to come here and meet you and receive this plaque. Thank you.
Token of appreciation.
Thank you.
Madam, you have been the president of FPAI, FOGSI, MOGS. So we would request you 2 minutes to speak your contribution, because the younger generation are still, aware to some extent, but just share few experiences of yours.
My experience is to start the work, not delay things, because there are so many lectures you hear and so many things we publish. But how many, let us see how many start. I will definitely see in the audience what all Nozer has done, what Mandakini has done, what she has done. And that's what matters. And therefore, all I say is you will start 2 new projects, 2, and I will get the report. Yes. Okay. Usha Krishna has spoken so well. I have nothing more to add. Thank you for having me.